The following clips were taken from a Let's Play series. They go into detail about the world of Gravity Rush, covering the intro, the world, and the creators. The timestamps for each section will be in the description below. Enjoy! So they hint that Cat fell from the top of the world pillar. If you remember, the very beginning showed an apple falling from a tree that looked to be at the top of the world pillar. I don't think it was. I believe that whole thing was a metaphor. I don't think there was a tree like that at the top of the world pillar. It was a metaphor for Cat as the apple, and it's a reference to the story of Isaac Newton's discovery, or not discovery of gravity, but sort of him gaining the idea of defining gravity by laws, or putting laws to gravity, pretty much. Because everyone knew about gravity, of course. You know, Isaac Newton wasn't suddenly like, "Hey guys, like we all fall towards the earth now." He's like, "What? You're right. We weren't doing this yesterday. How did you discover this?" Like everyone knew gravity existed. Gravity wasn't a new concept. It just no one had defined gravity. No one had talked about what gravity was. It was discovery of gravitation as a concept. So that's why the name of the song that plays during the opening credits is called Discovery of Gravitation. But then there's a double meaning in this game because you're also Cat discovering her ability to manipulate gravity. So it's discovery of gravitational powers that she possesses, whatever. So it sort of has a double meaning of discovery of gravitation, plus the fact that she's falling towards the ground for a very long time I think it's sort of a bit of humor there with it's like gravity, right? Like she's had a lot of time to feel gravity, whatever. So a lot of meetings. I do really like the opening. But I think it's supposed to be a metaphor. The apple was Cat and the tree was Ito. So yeah, in the movie Interstellar, I don't know if anyone's seen that movie. There's one of the planets that they visit is very close to a black hole. So they leave their friend on the spaceship and they go down to the planet, and they're only there for a couple minutes. But when they come back, he's like a super old man, and they're like, "What? Sorry, spoilers for Interstellar, for anyone who wants to see it." Although spoilers for in all honesty, spoilers for science. Like, spoiler alert, this is how science works. So they're near a black hole, and so the spaceship is closer to the black hole. No, sorry, the planet's closer to the black hole than the spaceship. They put the spaceship on the far side of the black hole. And it's not their choice, it's just where the closest spot they can get to the... Although I don't know why he didn't just fly closer to the black... Like, if he'd just done a loop around the planet, then probably by the time he got back, because then on the far side of the planet, he would have been much closer to the black hole, and so time might have evened out a little bit better. I don't know, who knows? But anyway, the point is that the closer you are to a black hole, the slower time moves. The slower time moves. So the people on the planet saw time moving at a much slower pace than the guy in the spaceship, who saw time moving by much faster. So when they come back, he's much older. So yeah, I think that's what's going on here. I think that's the gravity storm, by the way. That big purple thing extending all the way out there, that's the gravity storm. And it goes all the way to the other side as well. You can see it's way there in the distance. This huge purple mass at the bottom, that's a giant gravity storm. So I think that's actually a black hole. And so you find out in the second game that the storm is rising very, very slowly. It's moving like an inch or less than an inch a day. It might be like an inch a week. They tell you. We'll find out later. They do tell you how fast the storm's rising. Eventually, in this game, they tell you in this game eventually how fast the storm is rising. So eventually, it'll consume the people at the top of the pillar, but they're not concerned because time moves so much more quickly for them than it does down there. That from their perspective, that thing's not moving at all, pretty much, and so long is going to pass before it even gets close. But the higher it gets, the faster it's going to go. From their perspective, at least. So what I think is really going on is that the gravity storm isn't rising, the pillar is actually sinking into the black hole. And so that's why gravity... So you'd think the way that this world works, the largest center of mass in this world, because you see there's no world, there's no physical world. And actually, the sun doesn't move. The sun is that way. It's on the far side of Venda Center. So if I can pull up the map... So the sun is on the northeast southwest side of us right now. Yeah, you can see the sun. It's on the map. Oh wow, I never even noticed that before. That's where the sun is, where you see it on the map right now. That's not accurate. No, that's not where the sun is. Sorry, the sun's down here on the south side of the map. Yeah, so the way that this world works is this. Here it's constantly noon. Here it's constantly 6 p.m. Here it's constantly midnight, 12 a.m. And here it's constantly morning, 12 or 6 a.m. So that's how it works. It goes clockwise. Or counterclockwise, it doesn't matter. But it's constantly morning, noon, night, or afternoon and night. So that's how this universe works. So the largest center of mass in this universe is that world pillar. So you think the way that gravity works, real gravity works, oh. Okay, I think I just forgot to jump off. The way real gravity works is we should be pulled towards the largest center of mass, which is that giant pillar. But we're not. We're pulled down towards the gravity storm. Which, why is that? If it's just a storm, it shouldn't have mass. Storms, I mean, whatever, like actual storms have, and it is a gravity storm, I guess you could argue, so it might have large gravity. It does. The way gravity storms works, they're high concentrations of gravitational energy. In this universe, that's the way the gravity storms work. I'm not talking about real science here, I'm talking about this universe. So yeah, it could have high mass, arguably, but what I think it is that it's actually a black hole. So the reason why we're pulled downwards is we're being sucked in by the black hole. That's why we're not pulled towards the pillar. Although we should be pulled a little bit towards the pillar. So we should be kind of on a slanted a little bit. Maybe I'll like slant the screen right there to show. I don't know. But yeah, so I think that's why we're pulled down. Oh, you can see that's not the big gravity storm because you just saw through there. There's a little, I don't know if you saw it. Hopefully I pointed it out. There, right there. You can see there's a little tree right through the fog. So that's actually not the big gravity storm. This is a smaller gravity storm. Further down at the very bottom, there's a much, much bigger gravity storm. I was just using this as an example. So for anyone who caught that's what's going on there. For anyone confused about what gate is, I don't know if they ever get more clear. You sort of have to infer a lot of things later on in the game. Because right now we know that he's the creator of this world, and that's all he's said. And so as we'll see later, there are other creators. He's just one creator. There's actually 3 in total, though you only meet the third one. You won't meet the third one until the second game, the sequel. So yeah, what he means by he's the creator of this world is he means he literally, as far as I can figure, created the physical world that is here. But that's it. He didn't do anything else. He didn't create people's souls or their imaginations or any of the physics or chemistry of the world. I mean, he assumedly created anatomy, which is a subset of biology. So he did create biology in part, or biology is more, that's a little confusing. Like, biology is kind of half anatomy, half chemistry. I feel, I don't know, I haven't spent too much time with biology, to be honest. To be frank, to be blunt, to be the weeds. I really haven't spent too much time with biology, so I wouldn't know what to call biology. But there's a different, yeah. So those other things like physics and chemistry and all that. So there's that. There's so yeah, he didn't create like physics or chemistry. He just created the physical material of the world. He created bricks and mortar and flesh and carbon. And well, I don't know if chemistry works the same way in this universe as it does in our universe. It very well might not, because the gods of this universe are, I don't think quite as. They don't seem to be the same level of complexity as evolution or whatever. You know, what's it called? Creator, intelligent design, whatever. Their intelligent design is maybe less intelligent. Could potentially be. I'm saying less intelligent than if we were to have intelligent design, or even if you just believe in just, you know, whatever, random chance, happenstance, and evolution, I think has more complexity to it than perhaps what these people can manage. Because they're not, which I could be wrong, they could have made this world. I mean, look, they managed a lot, right? Like, this world looks a little drab, mind you. But anyway, yeah, with the intelligent design, all I was trying to say is that whether you believe in evolution or intelligent design, the impression I get from this group of people is they don't seem to be as intelligent. They seem quite intelligent. I mean, they did make this world that you see, right? Well, I mean, a lot of it I'm sure was built by the people here. They didn't make like the dirt and stuff, or they made the dirt. They didn't make steel beams, right? They made steel, and then people made beams from that steel, assumedly. they assumedly made the world pillar. I don't know if they made the gravity storms. I don't think that they did. They imply though that life wasn't in the world in the second game. You get a little lesson in the history of this universe. Not this universe, the universe in Gravity Rush 2. But I assume it's about the same. It's that life actually came later. Life wasn't created at the same time as the rest of this universe. It's sort of was spawned out of something else. So, but yeah, we'll meet the other creators. So the other creators, I think, did the physics and the chemistry, and also though like creativity itself and imagination and dreams and what makes people different and whatever the soul, what it were, whatever you want to call it, that distinguishment between each person. Unless you believe that's chemistry, then I don't know. You could argue that the chemistry person did that, but they do. In this universe, it's not. In this universe, there are the three separate creators. So Gade is kind of what you think of, like what most people think of when they think of a god, like a Judeo-Christian god. That god created everything in their canon, but I think when most people think of when they think of that god is like, oh, he created like sunsets and flowers and stuff like that, and all that was made by Gade in this universe. He's the creator of all physical things. So that's what he means by being the creator, and so. I really like it. I think it's a really cool way of looking at like when your god is just some guy. He's just this old, cranky man, and for some reason that's unexplained. I guess because he's old. It seems like the gods have lost their power over time, and so he can't. Well, they do tell you eventually that he can't interfere with this world after he created it. So it's unknown if they chose to do that. Or if that's some weird, like, is there like a higher power than the gods? Like what is, putting these limits on the gods in this universe's canon, of course. The thing that's actually putting limits on the god is the person who wrote this story. But like in the canon of this universe, what is putting the limits on the gods? And it's unknown. It could be, it hasn't been stated specifically, is all I'm trying to say. But I like to think that maybe they put that on themselves. When they created this universe, there wasn't anything in it. There weren't any people. They didn't know what was going to happen. They created the building blocks, and it was up to the inhabitants to make of that what they would. And so they might have decided after life began, like I said, which came later, that they wanted to let the inhabitants of this world decide the world's future. So they might have decided to put those limits on themselves. So they might have used their magic, or whatever you want to call it, their creation ability, to put limits on themselves so that they could no longer interfere with this world directly. And so they can only do little indirect things here and there. But then the life kind of got out of control, and the gravity storm happened, and now something's attacking the city, and then now they're realizing that there's nothing they can do to stop it, and now they're trying to help stop it, but those limitations that they had placed on themselves are now getting in the way, which they didn't foresee having to need that like they do now. They're hoping that life could go on happily and all that. But it didn't. And so that's what we're here for. But we're not an implement of the gods. We are a person. And Q1 at that. Like and subscribe. Zoink. Out.